Hey, welcome back. This is the AXUMUS Show, episode 102. My name is DVNB, and it's a show about the story of me and what I've been through and how I got here. So let's recap a little bit from the first episode. We talked about where I was born and how I got to Texas around the age of 2, and how I felt alienated when I started, getting into the community of Childress, Texas. But we're gonna backtrack a little bit and, talk about how we even got to the point to where my pops was able to be an immigrant from India that moved to Canada and then somehow miraculously moved his whole family to the southern part of the United States. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So, everyone's probably wondering, well, if he's an immigrant, how did he even save up enough money to move his family down there? Because what I didn't mention yesterday is that he moved to Texas, but he actually bought a business in Childress, which is like a old property, like an old motel, which most of us called a roach motel. It had like 20 rooms. It was very dilapidated property. But we're gonna tell you how he even was able to purchase that property. So when he lived in Canada, he has 2 brothers that also lived in Canada, and all 3 of them got together and they purchased a home. So now they got a mortgage, and this is in 1976. My pops didn't get to Texas until 1983 or late 82. So they bought the house in 1976, so that's like what, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 7-year span. So my pops already had a vision of he wants to have a better life and not work odd jobs as he was in Canada since he moved there in the early 70s. So they bought that house, all 3 of them. The value of that house was $29,000. And then obviously they put some money down that they had saved up together. And then their mortgage was like $266 per month in 1976. And that was split between three families within the household. So we had 3 uncles, there's 3 brothers living there. There are 3 wives. Each family had 2 kids. One uncle only had 1 son at that point. But, so it's a full house. So they worked hard every day. Everyone saved up money. As immigrants, we don't really get into the lifestyle of consumerism. What we do is we cook at home. We don't buy like clothes every weekend. We don't go out every weekend and spend money frivolously. We don't spend our paycheck that we receive on Friday during the weekend. We live humbly and we live happily with each other. So, between 76 and 82, 83-ish, my pops was saving up a lot of money. And then he had some friends that lived in the southern part of Texas, and he contacted them. My pops went down there by himself at the beginning and looked at some properties. I think he looked at one in Palestine, Texas, but that was in the middle of nowhere. I know we lived in Childress, but Palestine was even, more remote than Childress. And so, he saw the property in Childress, and, it's located on a major traveling highway. And so he decided, he was like, this is the one. So he purchased that property with the money he put down on it, and the rest was like, obviously a loan from the local bank there. And then, him, my mom, my older brother moved there first. Then I came down there around the age of 2 with my uncle, and we started living there. So now we're all there. But just because we own a business doesn't mean we're rich. We were actually the opposite. We was very tight on the money, very tight. I remember growing up that, you know, they would take us to the store to go, you know, shopping with them, but we would never be able to get anything. Like if I wanted toys or anything like that, which it's not a big deal. I'm just giving you the story. You know what I'm saying? And another good memory I have, I don't understand how I got this memory, but another good memory I have is when my grandfather, my dad's dad, came down there to live with us from Canada. He was at my dad took us to a cotton gin in like the countryside of Childress. And I remember my grandfather holding me in his arms, and I was only like 2.5 years old. And usually, from what I know, is, you know, babies can't remember their memories at that age, but for whatever reason, I remembered being held in my grandfather's arms. Like I could close my eyes right now and picture the exact way he was holding me, what part of the cotton gin he was holding me in, all that stuff. So for whatever reason, I have a very, very vivid memory of that moment, because after that, I don't think I have any memories of my grandfather, because he passed away when I was around 4 or 5 years old. So that's how we got there, and that's where we lived, on a Roach Motel. And I think I'm going to end it right there, because the next episode, I'm going to tell you some stories that started molding me as who I am today at the motel, which was called the Western Motel. So until next time, thank you for watching once again. My name's DVNB. This is the show called AXUMUS, episode 102. And we'll see you next time. Peace.